Welcome back into the Undivided Circle podcast. I am your host, Nick Zaniboni. You can call me Nick Z because there's too many vowels in my last name. But I am here with my good friend named Jason Beckner. How are you today, Jason?
Nick, what up? We have officially reached quote unquote opening day of baseball. We had a game started about 5 a.m. Nothing screams building and growing your game like putting a game on opening day of the season at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where Dodgers and Padres fans would be watching. Let's grow this game, baby.
Jason, you are not wrong, and that's I've heard this take a lot in a lot of different places, but they are growing the game in a different country. So I guess you can look at it that way. They don't care about the fans in LA or San Diego because they already have them. They're trying to get them elsewhere. But enough with my takes and all that. It is time for my favorite part of the week, which is the cold open question of the week. Jason, it is one of our favorite sports times of the year, and that is March Madness. But I'm going to do a little bit of March Madness mixed with fantasy baseball. Everyone loves that Cinderella story. I want you to tell me, who is your Cinderella story going into this fantasy baseball season? Ready, set, go.
All right. Now that I've had 40 seconds to think about who's my Cinderella, I had to think, do I want to go outside the box or do I want to go Homer? And I wanted to go Homer just because I only had 40 seconds to think about it. And my Cinderella story is Michael Busch of the Cubs, formerly of the Dodgers, top prospect, is not only one of the better hitters on the Cubs team this year, he is going to be a top 10 at, well, I wouldn't say his position because I feel like he's going to be like one of these guys that's like, he's already multiple position eligibility, but we'll say a top 10 at his position, and just becomes a very well-known fantasy asset for 2025.
I like that. I did not go Homer here because I am a good guy and usually go Homer, which is being a Homer and being a fan is okay. But I did go with one of our old co-hosts teams.
Okay.
Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers had the first pick in the MLB draft. I don't remember how many years ago it was. They picked Casey Mize. And Casey Mize was a can't-miss starting pitching prospect. Unfortunately, as we know, there's no such thing as a pitching prospect. He is back from his Tommy John, I think, or shoulder. It was from his arm injury. He missed the last year and a half, I'd say. And I think he's going to be draftable next Dynasty, next fantasy season.
2025.
So this time next year, people will be drafting Casey Mize within the first 10 to 15 rounds.
I like it. I did see Pitching Ninja was putting out some stuff from his last start. He was reaching upper 90s. Always good to see when you're coming back from a elbow injury, shoulder injury. I'm not sure exactly what it was, like you said. But yes, I'm off Casey Mize love. I own him in several Dynasty leagues, so I'm here for all the Casey Mize love, and hopefully your Cinderella story comes true. But do you have a Cinderella opinion about March Madness?
Yeah.
Give us.
I like Samford tomorrow.
Samford's a big pick. Don't they have Duke, or is that the second round?
I think it's Kansas. I think.
Oh, you're right. Kansas. Okay. Yes.
So I like that. Hold on, did you see? McNeese State is
That's
playing.
what I was gonna say.
Have you seen? Have you? I don't. There was a clip going around today.
Yes,
The
of
teams.
their non-conference teams.
They're not.
And
They played an all-woman school
that has men's
that
sports.
has men's sports.
Yes, I've seen this social media clip.
Played like an electrician school. I am out on McNeese State. Who do you have?
So I was gonna say McNeese State, but now you kind of spoiled it. I also like. It's probably not going to happen, but Stetson, number going against the number 1 seed, UConn.
Yeah, UConn's gonna roll them.
It's not likely going to happen, but hey, we're talking about Cinderellas here. That's a good one. McNeese State's a good one. Stanford's a good one. I also liked. I wish I had my bracket in front of me because I have a couple other upsets going as well. But yeah, that'll be interesting. Like I said, we're in the first final, or what do they call the first 4 or the playing games? 2 good games last night. Although Virginia, I mean,
Dude, that was so bad last.
did they have like
first half?
how many? I think it was like 20 points, right?
I think it was 14. I think it was less than 20.
Yeah, it was bad. I had the under, so I'm not complaining. That was awesome to see. I think it was like combined like 50 points at half, and the over-under was like 120. I had the under, so awesome. But again, that's tonight. I'm all over Colorado. I think they win big tonight. We'll check it back later on that. But this is not a March Madness podcast. This is a fantasy baseball podcast. Last week we did the American League preview. This week we're going to do a little bit of the National League, get into some news and notes, some bold predictions later on. Before we jump into all of that, though, we do have to take care of some business here at the front end of the show, and that's talking about Fantasy Six-Pack All Access members. Do you want to get access to the most accurate fantasy baseball rankings? According to Fantasy Pros, we have draft cheat sheets, which have been awesome. Like I said, I know I talked about it last week. I use them in TGFBI. I use them in RazSlam. Super, super beneficial because it kind of, the way it's designed, it kind of lets you find where positions might be of more value. Right now, it's the heart of draft season. Get those cheat sheets now. They've been super helpful. We also have a Discord where you can get a ton of great DFS and betting projections, one-on-one interactions with any of our analysts over there on our Discord. I love interacting with anybody out there. It's awesome. I think that's one of the best benefits about becoming an all-access member is not only the rankings on the site, but also the Discord. You can do all that, again, by becoming an all-access member. You can go to fantasy6pack.net/plans. And if you right now we're running a promo, if you use promo code F6PMLB24, you're going to save 15% off on that all-access membership. That is the business part of the portion of the program. Let's get into the news notes this week about the National League. Before we get into this, Uncle Ted is here joining us, which I love, and he's got a great take. Edius Leonard will take Baez's job and Leonard Ball. Well, I'm here all for that. I also made me think of a really funny tweet I saw, and it was a compilation of Javi Baez swinging at pitches that were nowhere near his bat, and it said, "Me playing MLB The Show 24," and that is the most accurate tweet I've ever seen.
Are you playing MLB?
I do play. I do play
that too.
What's that?
Do your children play?
They do. They kind of just play like, pretty casual.
Yeah.
But I'm a Diamond Dynasty grinder.
Okay.
I was thinking about doing a little bit of like a Twitch streaming MLB The Show while talking fantasy. People can come in, ask questions, little AMA on fantasy, things like that. More to be determined on that. I might bring that up a little bit later on another episode, but
I might do that with you. I think that'd be a good time.
I know. I haven't
the new one yet.
Okay.
But it's usually something. It is usually a recurring buy for me.
Yeah.
But and I always say like, nah, it's fine. I'll wait. And then as soon as the first pitch is thrown, I'm like, I need it. I need baseball.
Yeah, I have it. It came out yesterday. I didn't get the early access last week, but it came out yesterday. Played it a little bit last night. Jumping back into it again. I love it. It's always fun. Like I said, I shout out Paul Sporer of Fangraphs. He kind of does that already. He also does a lot of OOTP. I kind of was thinking about doing something similar to his streams for myself, where people kind of just come, watch me play, talk about fantasy baseball. It's just a little thing I've been a little bit contemplating a little bit here.
Yeah,
Might be a little on deck circle after dark if you're willing to stay up.
Weekends, I do stay up.
Okay.
I go to bed early so I can wake up early and
Yeah.
watch morning baseball.
Yeah, you can watch your 5 a.m. Korea series.
Exactly.
All right, so we got some news and notes, some big news happening. Probably the biggest news this week that happened is Blake Snell signs with the San Francisco Giants. One of the teams that I did not see him going to was the San Francisco Giants. However, gets a 2-year deal with basically a player option for 2025, which in his scenario is perfect. If for whatever reason he has another stellar season like he had in 2023, he can always opt out and try free agency market again, which I don't know, wait until March 17th or 18th, maybe not in the books for him again. But if I was him, I'd probably take these 2 years and run, but that's just me.
Scotty B is not doing too hot right now.
Yeah, Jordan Montgomery's still unsigned, but right now, if we look at it here, Blake Snell is actually coming off. Arguably, he basically is not arguably. It was his best year, career year in 2023, where he won NL Cy Young last year. He's now goes to a super hitter friendly park in San Francisco. When you look at all of his stats from last year, career high in Ks. The walk rate's still a little high, but you're going to get that when you're dealing with a strikeout pitcher. You're going to have to deal with some of the walks sometimes. But overall, I mean, you just see a lot of the blood red here on his Savant page. The whiff rate's super high. The chase rates could be a little bit better, but yeah, I mean, talking about last year, we had a 2.25 ERA in 32 starts, 180 innings, which is basically ties a career year. But yeah, the 234 strikeouts was a career best for Snell in 2023, and he lands here with the Giants. Do you where do you prefer him in this position, or like where he was before in the Giants or the Padres?
Before I touch on Snell, the Giants had the best offseason in baseball.
Dude, quietly they have.
They signed 5 of the top 10 guys.
Yeah,
and all at great values.
They got Chapman.
Yeah, Chapman. They got Lee.
Jung Ho Lee.
Soler. There's so many guys. And Snell in general, even before this, I was into the Giants, mainly just because it is that even year, and the Giants are good in even years. But they got they just hired Melvin again, right? I think it's Bob Melvin, their new coach. But they got rid of Kapler, so it's going to be a new vibe. And I think Snell had Melvin there. Yeah, Snell was – yeah, okay. This is all making more and more sense to me now. But Snell going back to Melvin, going to a team that in any other division could easily be projected to winning their division. But they very well could finish third in this division.
Yep.
But I'm excited just because I'm not saying San Francisco is not a small market, but it's a small market team, as in they're not gonna go grab the Otanis. I understand they tried to, but they're not that guy. So it's cool to see Snell. He's taking his money. It's really a 1-year deal, which sucks for the Giants because they did sign him. But it's probably going to be for 1 year, and then he's going to wait for another one next year. But hopefully maybe they can just re-sign him next year after that, because this is – how many teams is this? Is this Snell's third team or fourth? Is it
his third?
So it was the Rays, then Padres, then here. Okay.
Yep.
But, yeah, it's a fine fit. I don't know if there were if there's anybody I was well, he should have went there. If anything, it would be the Yankees, and I'm grateful he didn't go to the Yankees.
Right.
So I'm completely fine with this. It doesn't hurt his fantasy value, in my opinion. It helps it just because he's not in a park like Yankee Stadium, I guess. This, I understand that every park has its ups and downs, but I think Snell plays well here, at least.
Yeah, and not only does he go to the Giants, but now the Giants have the offense aside from the offense, which is probably going to be really bad. It always has been for the last few years. But that pitching staff now has the 2023 Cy Young winner in Blake Snell, as well as a 2023 Cy Young runner-up in Logan Webb. They have a young, up-and-coming, promising Kyle Harrison. Say what you want about the command, right? I mean, he's had his command issues. However, he's still a highly touted pitching prospect. The back half of the rotation could use a little bit of work. They've also, for whatever reason, decided they're going to stretch out Jordan Hicks and
That
make him a
makes no
starter,
sense.
which is extremely weird to me. He was a failed reliever for the most part, and now they're going to be like, oh, we're going to just let him become a starter now.
His
Which,
problem was he needed to throw more pitches outside of the zone.
yeah, I didn't quite understand that, stretching him out. But, yeah, I mean, it's not going to – the first three in Webb, Snell, and Harrison should be good enough to get them at least like 85 wins.
And then they got Naya too, right?
Yeah, I think he was – no, he's on the Mets now, I believe. He was on the –
You're right. Yep.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, I mean, like you said, they did make some improvements from 2023, especially, like, signing guys like Chapman, Soler, Conforto. There's and Lee. They could be a sneaky good team. Like I said, when you're in a division with the Dodgers, you're pretty much playing for a wild card spot at that point. So yeah, but hey, I didn't see the Giants signing Snell, and good for them because, like you said, they've quietly become one of the better free agent signing or off seasons they've had amongst the rest of baseball. All right, let's go into the next news here. I guess one of the big, not aside from Snell, one of the bigger moves is another pitcher moving, and that's Dylan Cease being traded from
right after our show. And you even called the Padres, and I didn't even hear about the Padres.
I had heard rumblings when we were, getting ready for our show last Wednesday, and yes, I think it was maybe 30 minutes to an hour after we signed off last week. Dylan Cease gets traded to the Padres. And what they got in return was pretty good. Yeah. They get Drew Thorpe, who the Padres just got from the Yankees for Soto. Jairo Irate, I can't remember. I'm probably butchering that, but Samuel Zavala, and then big leave reliever Steven Wilson. Drew Thorpe, though, a little bit of a rough outing here with the White Sox. I believe he just started yesterday, I think. 8 runs in 3 2/3 innings. So
that's nothing. He doesn't like the cold weather.
Yeah, I mean, Cease has been a name that's been rumored to be traded now here for the last, I don't know, since basically the off season of, the deadline last year. And I don't think he was actually moved last year at the deadline because he was actually having a bit of a down year last year compared to, obviously his 2022 season. Last year we saw a swinging strike rate dip from 15 down to 13%. He left 3 percentage points off a strikeout rate, which is still good. He still had a 27% strikeout rate, but it was up almost over 30% prior to that, which is obviously way above, and almost a lead at 30% plus. The average velocity on both his fastball and slider were down a few ticks, which just, as a Dylan Cease owner, don't watch his starts. Just go look at the stat line at the end of the night and say, oh, look, Dylan Cease had a decent start today. But if you watch it, you're going to rip your hair out because it's never pretty. He always puts guys on base. The whip is usually at a 1.15. And then I think here, I just quickly pulled up his Savant page and look at his, a lot of his stats compared to what we just saw in Blake Snell. Yeah. Again, the K rate's still pretty decent at 27. The whiff rate's really high, still at 31%. Chase rate's really low. The walk rate's even a little bit better than Snell, but still at 10%. His ground ball rate doesn't, fly ball pitcher now goes to Padres, which will be a little bit better than here in Chicago. But with that down year last year, I think he had a little bit of an issue why he wasn't being traded last deadline. But I like the move to San Diego. Always get a new face, new place. I think you get a little bit of a bounce back here. Again, you're still going to get those high strikeout games. You know what you're getting in Cease here. Going to have a high whip, mediocre ERA, tons of strikeouts. What do you think on the move for Padres?
I was incredibly surprised, mainly just because of kind of what I just said. Like you're playing at this point, you're playing for the second wild card spot, and I just don't see giving up everything. So I understand if you like put it in a vacuum. Essentially, it was Michael King, Dylan Cease. There might have been and some I don't know who else, but
Yeah.
ones for Soto and Grisham, which is fine. But like there was just I was seeing a direction where they were like, okay, we're just gonna like reset here with these young arms, and then this was very much the fantasy baseball trade, dynasty fantasy baseball trade, where the owner's like, well, I don't want to like lose. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go trade all of my young assets. Not all, because they still have stuff. But I'm gonna trade all my assets for this one pitcher for 1 year. And I get he could resign. I understand all of this. It's a fine fit. I like fantasy wise, he'll be Dylan Cease because that's what he is. But it like in real life sense, I was like, all right, this is weird. Kind of like when you brought it up, I was like, nah, he's not going to San Diego. But no, here we are. And I love Drew Thorpe too. Best changeup I've ever seen out of a prospect. Unfortunately, as you said, yesterday was not too great for him. But hey, he has to move from San Diego to Chicago. I would probably pitch poorly as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk that Drew Thorpe may have even been making the White Sox opening day rotation. I don't think that's going to happen at this point, but he will be in that rotation at some point this year.
Yeah, he'll be up by July, I think.
Yeah, and this also gives San Diego Padres a big three in their rotation right now. They have Musgrove, Darvish, and Cease. Michael King will probably be in that rotation as well. But other than that, they're pretty limited on. Again, they're in the same division, same boat as the Giants, right? You're in a division with the Dodgers. Your only hope is to make that wild card at this point. So just bolster up that rotation a little bit. Yeah, so they basically, if you think about it, they turned Soto. They basically made a three-way deal.
Yeah.
With the Sox and the Yankees, and turned Juan Soto into Michael King and Dylan Cease.
So which three would you rather have? Musgrove, Cease, you, or Webb, Snell, Harrison?
For fantasy, I'd probably go with the Padres guys. I think the strikeout upside's higher with those three. Okay. I think the ERA might be a little bit better for the Giants guys. However, we've also seen Blake Snell kind of go up and down in his career. We've seen him have really awesome seasons and also have just like really bad seasons.
Yeah.
Where I feel like you know what you're getting from Cease, Musgrove, and Darvish.
Okay. Fair. And Harrison, you don't know. It's
exactly. And he had all those command issues last year. His walk rate was insane at the minor league level last year. So we don't know what we get from him. He's still almost an unknown commodity at this point. So I'll go with the 3 in San Diego.
Got you.
So that was another big move. And then, anyone that plays in, AL or NL only league, that was a huge asset that went to the NL in Dylan Cease.
Yeah. How does that work?
I'm not sure. I don't play. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he does become like some sort of free agent because I don't know. I don't play in any of those like league specific.
That'd be
leagues.
crazy.
And a lot of times that happens like at the deadline too. You know what I mean? Like if that were to happen at the deadline and you're in the middle of the season,
you need that first waiver.
Yeah, that first waiver. You need that. I would assume fabs are a lot bigger.
Yes.
In those type of leagues than mixed leagues.
That's a fun thing to think about.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so then those are our 2 big moves, pitchers moving between signing or trading. And now let's get into some of the bad news with some injuries that have happened in the last week or so. The first one being with something that you've been super high on. That's Eury Perez of the Miami Marlins. He is dealing with elbow soreness. He's being shut down for right now.
And a hangnail. There was a nail issue too. And then one of my buddies who knows I'm like a Eury fan texted me. He was like, "Yeah, Yuri's hurt, huh?" I was like, "Yeah, it's just a hangnail." And then he goes, "You didn't see?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah, not good. Not good for your Perez. Someone that was getting a lot of helium this offseason, and rightfully so. He made a lot of big strides last year when his few starts he made it as a major league level. He's been down. He's been shut down since late last week. He currently has an ADP within the top 100, which is already getting super inflated. But this kind of puts them back a little bit. And there's also bad news for Miami. Miami's dealing with injuries, right? They already got Alcantara's out for this year completely. Edward Cabrera is dealing with injuries. Braxton Garrett is dealing with injuries. So the Miami Marlins are in a little bit of a rough patch. AJ Puck is already looking like he was going to be in that rotation. He's had a super strong spring. Is most likely definitely obviously going to be in the rotation now with all his injuries that he's been having. Shout out AJ Puck. He was somebody that I was super high on, I think a few years ago, coming out of Florida University or University of Florida. I don't know how you pronounce it, but whatever, Florida. Basically was resorted to a bullpen role. Now looks like he's about to get his retribution and go back into the rotation, which I'm super excited for with Miami. I'm all for that. But yeah, this one, not a lot of news out there right now other than he's just been shut down. Obviously, they have a little bit of time here. Regular season not starting until next week. We should probably get a little bit more news on Eury Perez here in the next 5 days or so. I'm assuming he'll probably go on the IL to start the season. Super bad news for any Eury Perez truthers out there like yourself.
Yeah, man. This one bums me out just because he's just so young, and I feel like we brought up his age so many times.
Yeah,
he's like 20 or 20 pitch going into his 21 age season. It's stuff like that just bums me out, especially because the Marlins are a team that they're a fun watch. Like Jazz is electric, whether you like him or hate him. Like he makes you watch.
Yep.
And I'm just really hopeful that this is just like a bump in the road and not like a 2-year thing. But what's even crazier, Jason, is that if it's a 2-year thing, he'll be 23.
Yeah.
It'll just be like, okay, he's back. So like fantasy wise, if you don't own Eury Perez, this might be a good thing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Before the season starts here, you can maybe shoot out a little for redraft leagues. Maybe feel out the owner that drafted him. He could be down on his luck and need a lot of starting pitching. Might be able to flip Eury Perez for, if you give him like another one. Maybe do a little 2-for-1 two starters for one. Be a great time to jump in. Maybe do it now before the news breaks of him missing either the entire year or the next 3 months. But super depressing when a young pitcher like himself gets to miss time, because we've been talking about it all off season. Perez was one of those guys that everyone's been getting excited about for that young man. His full season here at the major league level. We'll have to wait a little bit here. From one injury to the next, this one is pretty big news here, and that's Devin Williams. Pulled out of a start last week with some back spasms. I think they called it at first. Now it comes out that he has a couple fractures in his actual back, which is never good. He's basically shut out for at least 3 months. I'm going to guess it's going to be one of those injuries that even if he does come back in 3 months, will be a nagging injury. I mean, I've seen it firsthand with Rizzo, right? He's always been dealing with those back injuries, back spasms. I can't imagine what it's like for a pitcher who needs that torque in his back to generate a lot of that velocity, and the torque on, Airbender himself with all those crazy sliders that he's throwing. But this one's huge because Devin Williams not only having a great spring, he was being drafted as the number 1 closer off the board, and his ADP was even within like the top. I took him in the Stefan Six-Pack series like a week before he was injured. I took him in like probably the 3rd round or 2nd round. So that obviously hurts. Right now his ADP is 82. So top 100 relief pitcher, because he was basically being drafted as not only the number 1 relief pitcher, but the number 1 closer, and a huge strikeout numbers as well, right? You're getting probably 30 plus saves and probably like a 12% K rate, 15% K rate. Sorry, K per 9. Right now, there's a few options that they do have in that bullpen to take those save opportunities away. A lot of people saying Joel Payampas is going to be the first guy to go.
I really need that. That's what I need in so many different leagues. I'm a big Payampas guy in general because I am mostly in saves and holds leagues.
Mm-hmm.
So he's someone that's valuable there, but even now would be even better just to get more of a sure thing, as in like saves are more predictable than a hold is.
Yep.
But could be Mengil as well.
Yep.
There's a lot of there's so much uncertainty. These closers, man, they're dropping like flies.
Yeah.
And like it's just so hard to predict these, like you can't. And like I read something that he was having back problems at the end of last season. Like, has this man just been walking around with a fractured back for the last like 6 months? Like,
Right.
what kind of organization wouldn't be like, all right, let's just go check you out?
Yeah, it's crazy. Again, this is one of those injuries that even like with a back, I could see this, lingering all season long. So if you have not had your draft yet already, definitely start fading Devin Williams.
Draft Devin Williams.
If he falls to you late, that's great, but I would not be taking him in the top 100 at all. And honestly, one of the
very early in my draft on Monday, like early, like I had like an audible gasp, and
right.
my wife was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Someone just drafted this guy."
I will point out one of the dark horses that I have for closes, and it's the name that's been getting tossed around a lot, is Abner Uribe. Super high end velocity, throws triple digits, hits 100 with ease. He throws like basically a 2-pitch pitcher, sinker slider combination, but that sinker sits average velocity of like 99. Let's see, yeah, the mile per hour is at 99. The slider's at 89. Someone just keep an eye out. I believe his ADP is basically free at this point. Maybe bumped up a little bit here in the last few days, just because like he's a name that everyone's kind of. I'm not saying he's going to come out and be the closer right off the bat, but I think as everyone starts, this is basically going to become a closer by committee, if you ask me, between McGill, Piampus, and now Uribe. He's the young guy, so he may not get a lot of those early opportunities, but on like a back-to-back save, like, a games where there's back-to-back save opportunities, he might get that second opportunity. And I think as the season goes on, and we see less and less of Devin Williams because he's always going to be on the IL all year, Uribe could be one of those guys. Just keep an eye on. But save versus holds, absolutely draft this guy. But save only leagues, I think a little bit of a dark horse here. He could be. Everyone's talking about Piampus as being the closer. I think Uribe is someone you should be keeping an eye out for here in that Milwaukee bullpen.
I like that.
Well, from one Brewer to a next, and that's Jackson Chourio. He makes the Brewers opening day rosters come out, I think, today or yesterday, which was a no-brainer. They signed him to an extension. He was already going to be on that opening day roster, but I mean, this is a young kid. He'll basically be the Brewers in that lineup every day. Last year alone, he put up slash line of 280, 336, 467 OBP, slash line, 22 home runs and 43 steals over 559 plate appearances. The swinging strike rate was very impressive. It was set either right around or below 10% in 2023. Right now, the projections have him with about 15 home runs and 25 stolen bases with a 250 average, which I think that's pretty fair. He's still super young. The good thing about the Brewers is they're in a pretty weak NL Central. I could see him, definitely hitting those numbers. I would also probably, I wouldn't go super aggressive on his projection, but those are basically a collection of all of the projection systems. We're somewhere in that range of like 15 home runs and 25 stolen bases, 250 average. I think, I actually did not pull his ADP. I think it was pretty high at this point.
It is. It's in like it's close. It's high enough where I don't think I want it. I don't know if it's like worth, like you just said, it's probably like 15 homers, like nothing like
139. His ADP right now is 130. Wait, sorry. Yeah. I believe it. Yeah, 139 ADP. Yeah. He's actually getting drafted ahead of guys like Jackson Holliday. Obviously not as high as Wyatt Langford, but
yeah, I would overdraft Wyatt Langford than being like, I'll wait for Jackson, So definitely someone that I would pick just because you like having the fun prospect on your team. And especially because they're paying him. So that means they're probably not going to send him down. And like you said, it was kind of a no-brainer. And I'm excited just because it's another young player in the MLB. And it's fun when these guys flourish. But there's going to be times on this exact show we're going to be like, should we worry about Jackson Chourio yet? Or so it's just another player for us to be excited about and to complain about in a couple weeks.
Exactly. Real quick, there was another prospect that also made opening day roster, which is a little bit of a surprise, and that's Jackson Merrill of the Padres. This is almost, we could have just named this the Padre.
Jacksons.
We could have, or yeah, this is like a whole, we've talked about 3 Padres now. So Jackson Merrill, shortstop prospect for Padres, made the opening day roster. He actually played in last night's, this morning's, I don't know what you want to call it, this morning's game. Because do you know what time it was local when that game started?
That I do not know, but I do know that every player for the Padres, other than the catcher, started as a shortstop.
Yeah, I saw that tweet too. At one point in their career, had been a shortstop. But Jackson Merrill, only 20 years old. First game in the big leagues, 0 for 3, no hits, no walks.
Balls, though.
A lot of hard hit balls, a lot of good loud contact. Definitely keep an eye on him. I'm pretty sure his ADP is pretty low as well.
Yeah, that's probably closer to Jackson.
It was 400, I think.
Oh wow,
it was really low. Well, I guess there was rumors that he wasn't going to make the opening day roster, and then all of a sudden he made it. So
also, this could
Jackson Merrill's ADP is 516.
Yeah,
for
I think
free.
they might have been able to hold him because they're going overseas, so he might not even be on like
This is true too.
The real roster. He might have just been there for this, but I don't know. But this isn't someone that I'm going to be like, he needs to stay up the whole year. If he's not ready, he's not ready. So we'll find out in the next few weeks, just like everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. All right, those are the news and notes for the National Leagues that's in the last week here so far. So let's get into one of my favorite parts of the show. Hopefully yours too, and that's bold predictions.
I've got 3 hot ones.
Ooh,
2
spicy.
Involving one team.
All right, well, you go first then with your first one. I like spicy.
First one. I'm calling a 30-30 season for someone that I've talked about already on this show, not this episode, but a past episode. Mr. Nolan Jones is about to go 30-30. Last season, I don't want to say he got close, but he hit 22 homers with 20 stolen bags. I think with more at-bats, because he only, and when I say only, quote unquote, only had 367 at-bats, but get that up to 500 at-bats, I can see another 7 homers, another 10 stolen bags. So I'm going with Nolan Jones, 30-30 season, all-star.
Nice. I like it. I'm all in on Nolan Jones as well. I love it. You get that Colorado buff. You get it going out there. The home runs will be there. Only question is, will the stolen bases be there again this year? But I like it's. That's why it's bold and spicy. I'm gonna go spicy on this first one too. Might be a little bit of cherry picking with an injury news, but my first bold prediction is Robert Acuna Jr. does not get to 30 stolen bases this year, and I would almost say he doesn't even get. I would even go even spicier and say he doesn't get to 20 stolen bases this year.
Oh, get out of here, Jason.
I think
he'll have 20 by July.
I think with the knee injury that's already acting up already this spring, after the year he just put the tax that he put on his body last year, last 2 years basically, 735 plate appearances last year.
That's wild.
Knee injuries throughout the year this year. Now, if I was a betting man and an over-under, I'm taking the over. But this is a bold prediction show, and I'm going to say boldly he does not. We'll go in the middle. He does not reach 25 stolen bases.
Okay.
Due to injury concerns and load. What does the NBA call it? Load management.
Load management. Okay.
He's going to get on base.
So you're saying that it's not going to be because he's hurt and out for a significant amount of time. You're saying that the Braves are going to make a decision saying you're not stealing this many bases.
Yeah, I'm going to say both.
Okay.
He'll miss some time, And then he'll also have a little bit of load management issues. I think that knee, anytime any sport, a knee injury is always scary. I think he's already had knee problems in the past that made him miss games in 2021. I think that this is a megastar, not even super. This is a megastar of the baseball. Probably I was not probably the best hitter in all of baseball.
Yeah.
The Braves know that. They want to keep their superstar around. Limits the stolen bases this year.
Okay. That was a good one, Jason. I wasn't expecting that out of you.
Nice.
All right. Speaking of injuries, we're gonna have. I need to double check this number. Okay, yeah. Tyler Glasnow is going to pitch over 149 innings.
Love it.
And win the Cy Young. All in on Glasnow. I'm gonna say that the Rays ruin everybody. By ruin everybody, I mean their arms.
Mm-hmm.
And they get hurt all the time. And I think that the Dodgers are going to break something out of this guy. And I understand we all know that he's good. He's objectively a very good pitcher. He was amazing in Oppenheimer. But also he just is so good that I think that the Dodgers, I think that they're going to break something out and he's going to win the Cy Young and pitch over 149 innings.
Yeah, I mean, it's all comes down to the helping him staying on the mound, because when he's on the mound, he's no doubt one of the most efficient pitchers there is.
Yeah.
And we also have seen the Dodgers manipulate the IL.
Yep.
So I like the little 140, 150. He's not going to make 30 starts. They probably give him like 20 starts. So he'll have a blister issue where he goes on the IL for a 2-week span or something
here or there, just like a scheduled miss.
Absolutely, we've seen it all the time with the Dodgers. So I like it because, like I said, I am a Glasnow fan. I want to see him healthy. He's one of the most exciting pitchers to watch when healthy. So I'm here for that bold prediction. All right, my next bold prediction is, I don't know if it's bold, but I want to say it's bold because it's about a sophomore, and we always seen sophomore slumps happen. But I think after his rookie season, that was was very underwhelming for where he was being drafted. That's Jordan Walker. I feel like Jordan Walker rebounds in his sophomore year and goes 25-25 this year.
That's a great one.
I don't know if it's bold. I would almost say it's a very solid a prediction.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so he's being drafted like late enough that if that happens, you'll win your league. Like if you can get 25 out of 25, 25 and 25 from Jordan Walker, he's going around Wyatt Langford, I think, like that type of pick, like the mid 120-ish, maybe a little bit higher. But 111
ADP.
Okay. So if you can get that type of production out of that pick, that's league winning. And he's also somebody that this past offseason, if you got him in Dynasty, you got in a great deal just because his value was so low. So I really enjoy that one, Jason.
Just quickly looking at this, let's do a real quick. Would you rather?
Yep.
This is also near and dear to my heart because it has to do with the Cubs. He's getting drafted almost 100 and we'll call it 10 spots after Seiya Suzuki. Would you rather Jordan Walker, Seiya Suzuki?
It depends on the team build. If I'm reaching for upside or if I'm doing like safety wise, I pick Suzuki every time. But it'd be interesting just to compare them this whole year, because not saying they're similar players, but I think I'm just saying because it's Cubs and Cardinals, honestly. But yeah, I would probably go Suzuki definitely in a redraft. I'd go Suzuki. If you were to offer me Jordan Walker straight up for Suzuki and I'm like a middling team, I think I would take Jordan Walker just because I'm like, well, the upside's there. Yeah. So if you're looking for the upside, I would totally go with Walker.
Love it. All right, why don't you give us one more before we get out of here?
All right, Jason. So I said I had 3 takes or three bold predictions. 2 of them are on the same team. Is it going to be a Rocky or is it going to be a Dodger?
Rocky.
It's going to be a Rocky. Do you remember a few years ago, It was Jack Leiter's draft class, which was the Marcelo Mayer. So 3 years ago, maybe. There was a pitcher out of LSU named Jaden Hill. Electric. Gas. Blew up his elbow before the draft, like during the college season, I think. Where's the worst place you can get drafted, Jason, as a pitcher?
Colorado.
Who picks him? Colorado. Do you know who will be the closer for the Colorado Rockies this season? Like going into the year.
Oh, I don't, because like it was somebody last year, and it's
Justin
always been like
Lawrence,
yes.
And there's someone else. That
was a committee. Yeah.
There was Brett Suter at one point last season. It was gross.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say by the All-Star break, Jaden Hill will be the closer for the Colorado Rockies.
Nice. Now that's a spicy bold take, because that's one it's not even like it's not like some top 50 ADP guy.
He's not even in their top. I don't even think he's in their top. He's their 19th prospect on Purple Row.
Nice.
The SB Nation Purple Row.
Yeah. I was trying to debate on this last one here. I got a couple here. This one's, again, not the superest of bold. I came out strong with the Acuna under 25 stolen bases. Should have saved that for the last. It was the spiciest. I'm going to roll this one out anyways. Kyle Schwarber finally gets that 50-plus home run mark, leads the National League in home runs.
Will he have more singles or home runs?
Ooh, good question. I'm gonna say he's going down that career path of Adam Dunn, and he's gonna have more home runs than he does singles.
Okay. Yeah, probably.
I mean, he's coming off of back-to-back years of 45-plus home runs, so 50 isn't a huge stretch.
No.
We'll say 55 and leads the National League.
All right. I like that, Jason. That was a good one to leave with.
Yeah. All right, well, I gotta go. I gotta get to bed early so I can get up at 3 a.m. We have another actual official baseball game to watch at 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. Set your alarms.
Yep.
We're growing the game.
Next Wednesday, the real opening day. We'll just do like a little recap next week. Oh no, we need to do our awards.
Yeah, we'll hold off on reactions. We'll sprinkle in some. I mean, it's the first day. We're gonna have reactions, but we're also gonna roll out our award predictions. Cy Young, MVP, fantasy MVP, things like that.
Yeah, I can't wait. That's my favorite show of the year, Jason.
I know that, and then we got to make sure we recap it. Yeah,
because then we always forget.
Yep, and revisit it at the end of the year.
Yeah. All right, Jason. I will see you next week.
Absolutely.